The Naz Show on SG1 Radio.
With me, Naz. How are you all doing today? Well, we do have a very interesting show lined up for you all. We have fantastic new music coming your way from all over the world, and I'm sure you don't want to miss that. We have fantastic interviews as well lined up. And honestly, my two guests are amazing guests, and it's a coincidence actually, because both my guests have been awarded and honored by the Queen before. So as said, it was a coincidence. I didn't dig them out purposely for that, but do stay tuned because they will be speaking with us today. So what I will do is I will start off the hour with a song, and it's a very new song actually, because this song has not been aired anywhere at all. And I'm the first to air it. Yay! So I'm the first to air it on SG1 Radio, and it's a very beautiful mashup. Nahi Jana Kote Tea Mahia mashup with a very beautiful singer, Kamal Chopra, on the vocals, and it's composed by Kamal's equally very talented son, Vishal Chopra.
Khasmanu khamaya
That was a really, really beautiful song. Absolutely fabulous and amazing. And that was Kamal Chopra on the vocals with music composed by Vishal Chopra. I can see Nicole from South Africa very enjoying the song, saying, "Wow, wow, lovely voice." I absolutely agree. Kamal has a really fantastic voice. Vakar is also tuned in. Thank you very much, Vakar, for tuning in. And if there is anyone else who's tuning in, make sure you drop your messages on SG1 Radio. As said, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And yeah, so just give me a message to let me know you're tuned in.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Today's best music.
SG1 Radio, right here, right now.
I perhaps never tire from praising this guy, but you know what? Lewis Hamilton, he really does Stevenage proud, I think. And he got crowned Sports Personality of the Year for the second time. And, you know, it was only last month that he was celebrating the record equaling 7th Formula One World Championship. And now this, what amazes me about Lewis Hamilton is his entire story. It's just really inspirational, like something you'd see in the movie. Like, he was only 10 when he borrowed a dinner jacket at a Central London awards ceremony. And that was there when he asked the boss of McLaren, Ron Dennis, if he could drive for him. And Ron Dennis wrote in Lewis's autograph book saying, "Phone me in 9 years and we'll sort something out." But, you know, interestingly, Lewis Hamilton never had to wait that long. And 3 years later, he actually signed for McLaren, and, you know, the rest is history. Do you know, I would really love to interview him one day, actually. Maybe one day, who knows? But yeah, I really do think his story is so inspirational. That's my speech done for the
Music to blow you away.
Station for the very best DJs
From all around the world.
playing music from the 60s, 70s, 80s,
90s
and the best hits of today.
Sounding good. SG1 Radio.
Well, I really do hope we are sounding good. Yes, you are listening to SG1 Radio right here, right now with me, Naz. Oh my gosh, yes, it's flying by very, very quick. And I'm really excited because we have a very lovely woman as my first guest of the show. And, you know, we spoke to her a few weeks ago and she was very much loved by the people of Stevenage. And she has taken out the time so kindly to speak with us today. So can we please welcome Leader of Stevenage Borough Council, Sharon Taylor. Sharon, how are you doing today?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It's lovely to talk to you again, Naz, and season's greetings to you and all your friends and family and everyone that's listening to you.
Oh, season's greetings to you too. So Sharon, how did you celebrate Christmas this year?
Well, unfortunately, like many other people, all my plans were blown out of the water last Saturday. So I've got a bubble here because my daughter, I look after my grandchildren, so I've got a bubble with my daughter. So we spent Christmas Day together yesterday, and it was just because the little ones, I've got two very little grandchildren who are 4 and 2, and one who's 10. So we spent the day together, and that was really lovely. And I really appreciated being able to do that because I know a lot of people can't be with their families. So it was a lovely day, and just the joy in those little ones' faces is just a wonder to behold. And I spoke to my other grandchildren who I should have been seeing on FaceTime, which was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to technology, even if someone is like in the other side of the world, we can still keep in touch with them. We can still see them. I mean, it's not the same, but it's still virtually. It's a good way to still be connected.
Do you know what, Naz? There's a few silver linings to this awful situation we've been in for the last 9 months. One of those, I'd never heard of Zoom this time last year. And, you know, now I'm using it probably 8 or 9 hours a day. And we've got a big family quiz coming up tonight from people all over the country. And, you know, it's been, it can be tiring. I know that. And I know people do get a bit weary of it. But honestly, I don't know what we would have done without it these last 9 months. It's you know, the technology that's come forward in these few months has been amazing and has helped us all so much.
You know, you are actually right. I'll be honest, I had never heard of Zoom or known how to use Zoom at all since I think March was perhaps the first time I used it. It was only when a friend of mine was like, "Oh, Naz, let's do a meeting through Zoom." And I was like, Zoom? What is that? And a cousin of mine, it was really interesting because I think Zoom is also name of a money transferring platform, I think, so to transfer monies abroad. And so he was like, oh, Zoom, this is like a money transferring. Well, why is Zoom a video calling platform as well to have meetings? But it has been quite a lifesaver because I actually don't mind it because, there would sometimes be meetings where you have to travel a lot, like quite far as well. Now you can do it from the comfort of your own homes and you save more time and it's a bit more time efficient. But I do really miss the human interaction, I have to say.
Me too. I was travelling all over the country because I do quite a lot of work for the local government association and going to other councils and having a look at them. And because I haven't been doing any of that this year. The travelling's gone out, but I do miss that face to face. And there's nothing like going to a place to find out how it ticks and what it's all about there. So I've missed that. But as I said, I don't know where we'd have been without it. And for keeping families in touch with one another, and I don't think we'll lose that technology now. I think that will stay with us, and that's a really good thing. And it's good for the planet as well, because with less people moving around, getting in their cars every day, because we don't have to. Well, some of us do, but quite a lot of us can manage without doing that all the time. It's so much better for the planet, saving all that fossil fuel disappearing into the carbon count for the world. So I think that's a really good thing, and I hope we do stick with that.
Oh, I hope so too. So how's your work schedule like, Sharon, then? Are you working in between the Christmas and New Year period?
Yes, I will be, because obviously the rates of COVID have gone up very dramatically in Stevenage in the last week to 10 days. That's why we had to go into tier 4, and I know that was really devastating for people because it torpedoed so many people's plans. But our friends in other communities, I know that our Muslim community were devastated when they couldn't have their Eid celebrations. Our Jewish community when they couldn't hold their Hanukkah celebrations as they normally do, and it's been the same for us with Christmas. So we've all been through it. We all know what it feels like. But it did blow people's plans away. Travel had been organised, food had been bought or not bought, as the case may be, if you were going away. And it really disrupted it, and people were heartbroken. I do understand that. And for our poor businesses now, as they've been open and closed and open and closed. And it's been shattering for people who were just beginning to think when we came to the end of the November lockdown, or maybe we can catch up a bit on our business with the Christmas trade. Then, of course, last Saturday, they had to close down again. And I think that's been really hard. But there is no doubt in my mind that it was necessary, because this new strain of the virus is so highly infectious. We've gone up, our rates of infection have gone up 96% in Hertfordshire. Oh my gosh, so we've gone up, we're well over 300 cases per 100,000 now. And our colleagues in Broxbourne, which is only, a 15-minute journey away, are looking at over 700 cases per 100,000 of the population. So we know the rates were going up, so it was essential, and we've got to keep people safe. That's the top priority, I think, for all of us.
Absolutely. And, we can't really see as, to be complacent at any point now, because it is really worrying. Because I know a lot of people are thinking, 2020 was a terrible year, and they think that 2021 will mean that the virus will vanish, dramatically. But it's not really going to happen until we be careful and make the necessary steps that we should be doing.
No, well, we have to redouble our efforts on all the things we know help to keep us safe. So wearing our masks, social distancing, washing hands. And then there's a couple of additional things now in tier 4, staying home unless you're a key worker who can't stay at home, or you need to go for education or carer reasons. And don't visit other people in their homes unless they're part of a support bubble for you. So I think there are some new things we need to do now. And I think, I want to say a big thank you to Stevenage people, because they have been absolutely superb at sticking to all those guidelines. And so, I think that's why we've been, all the way through this, we've been slightly lower than other areas around us. And that's because people have been following those rules. But, I think that at this time of year as well, Naz, it's really important we remember that some people have to go to work. And, I want to say a big thank you to our key workers who are working as they always do, whether they're in the NHS, the police service, the blue light services, retail. My son works for the Metropolitan Police, so he's been at work today and yesterday. and my lovely niece works for one of the big supermarket chains, and she was at work until 9:30 on Christmas Eve, and she was back in again first thing this morning. So people are working, and I'd like to say a big thank you to them. And another group that I think have been really under-recognised in this, we talk about carers a lot in homes for the more vulnerable residents. We know about the ones that are in homes, but, you know, there are an awful lot of carers who care for vulnerable residents in their own homes. So there'd be family members or just people that they care for at home. And I think they've been very under-recognised, because some of them, the carers themselves, have had to effectively isolate themselves since March, because they are worried about infecting their relative or, you know, the person they care for. So can I say take this opportunity to say a big thank you to those home carers who are looking after our vulnerable residents. It's really important that we recognise that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. That's really helpful. So in terms of tier 4, what does it mean, and how different is it to the previous tier that we were in now?
Yeah, well, there were some big changes, and one of those was that non-essential retail had to close again. All of the gyms, hairdressers, nail bars, you know, all of those, the personal service areas had to close down again. Our pubs they were being able to open if they were serving meals. They can't open anymore at the moment. And of course, you can only meet one person outside. You could meet with 6 people, but now it's only one other person outside of your home. And I think they are a very tough set of regulations. I mean, effectively, we're back into lockdown again. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I feel it does feel actually more tougher than the actual first lockdown we had, actually, it seems like.
Yeah,
it's quite tough. Yeah,
and we know in Hertfordshire, we know where the infections were coming from, and it was largely from retail. So we know we have to be very careful if we go shopping. If you can order online, please do. But if you can't, if you do have to go to the shops, then you need to be super careful when you've been shopping. And from education, so at the moment schools aren't open, obviously. So we've seen very high rates of this. In this latest wave of the infection amongst the 12 to 16-year-olds. So I think the government's going to have to think very hard about that before the schools go back, about how they manage that. So lots to think about and lots to do still. And we'll be, of course, the bright light on the horizon is we do have a vaccination programme up and running now. We'll be doing lots of work on that with council staff co-opted into that programme to support our NHS colleagues, you know, booking people in and out. We'll be employing some more COVID marshals to go around and help make sure that everything's secure, that people are following the rules, that businesses that are open are geared up to protect people. And we've started up a recovery task force to help those who have lost their jobs through COVID or have lost their businesses to get going again. So we'll be doing that. So there's a lot for all of us to do, and that's why I think, you know, I'll be straight back in there tomorrow.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, honestly, it's a lot of work, but I'm really sure that our people are really appreciating all the work that you're doing, because it does take a lot, a lot of, responsibility and a lot of care that you naturally have for the people here. And, we really do appreciate it. So in terms of New Year celebrations, how would you recommend everyone should be doing their celebrations this year?
Well, I think, we can't all get together like we would have done in previous years. I've got a big family, quite a lot of us live in Stevenage. We would have all been together. We won't be this year. We'll be doing something on Zoom, I'm sure, and certainly seeing the new year in together on Zoom. But I would really urge people, the vaccination programme is rolling out now. So hopefully this will be the last Christmas we have like this and New Year. And, this time next year, we'll all be together again and celebrating. I hope that's the case. So I feel like we're in the last push now. And if we all stick to it and, try and make sure that everybody's safe, because, although younger people don't seem to get the illness as seriously as others, they can pass it on to older relatives and people with underlying health conditions, and that's when it's dangerous now. So we want people to look after their, the way that our Director of Public Health, who's another hero of this COVID crisis, by the way, Jim McManus, he's amazing. And he always says, always act as though you've got the infection and anyone you meet has the infection.
I think that's the best way
to treat it like that. Yeah. So not meeting friends over New Year, but having a good old chat and, you know, maybe a glass of something, maybe something alcoholic or not if you don't indulge in alcohol, over the a Zoom call or a FaceTime call is the way to do it just for this year. And then hopefully we can have the biggest party next year.
That's what I'm thinking. 2021 will make up for all the parties that we've missed out in the 2020. Yeah, so I'm hoping for a better year, actually. No, but thank you so much, Sharon, for your time and speaking with us today on SG1 Radio. And best wishes for the festive season and the new year.
And to you, Naz. And I think it's important to remember there's been some real silver linings to this. You know, with the wonderful community spirit we've seen. We did our Pride of Stevenage Awards recently. Some amazing winners there. You know, we've seen some real silver linings in the way that people have reacted to this crisis. And I'd like to thank you and all our friends in the broadcast media for supporting and helping get the messages out there to everybody. It's been a great help, so thank you.
Oh, honestly, it's a pleasure. And I think that's how we can all work together as a team. And this year especially has taught us how we can work together without any other, you know, means or anything needed. Literally, we've come together as a good community, I'd say.
Oh, we just have the best community in Stevenage. You know, all the things that were done. Our football club, you know, when we did our Pride of Stevenage Awards, the district nursing team won an award, the Lister Hospital, the Haven, the staff at the Holiday Inn Express who took all our rough sleepers in and helped them to get on their way to more secure housing. And then right down to the individual acts that people have done to be kind to their neighbours and look after them. And we had a lovely young person called Kiana Maloney who won our Good Neighbour Award, who'd been, you know, she's got elderly neighbours. She'd just been in, made sure they were okay every day. Just lovely things that people have done. And, you know, that's the community spirit that this has brought out, which has been amazing and wonderful. So we have to think about the bright side of things as well as, you know, what's been a truly awful year, I think, for most of us.
Yeah, we've had its good and bad points this year as well. And something like towards the end of the year, especially, I think now is a really good time to reflect on what's going on throughout the year, actually. So, yeah, I think it's...
And thank you for picking up Lewis Hamilton just now. I heard you before I came on. He's a big hero of mine. And you know, I was so delighted when he won Sports Personality of the Year. Very, very well deserved. A very talented, committed... you know, inspirational young man. So congratulations to Lewis for a fantastic year for him.
Yes, absolutely. I think we do have some great heroes from Stevenage, and it's great to see all of that being recognised as well. And thank you, Sharon. You're actually a true hero as well for doing all the fantastic work that you're doing. So please... No,
it's teamwork that I do, Naz. We all work as a team at the council. Yeah,
no, it's been really good. And thank you so much for speaking to us on Boxing Day as well. So we won't keep you for too long. So do enjoy the rest of your day that you have before you go back to work. For myself and everyone at SG1, I wish you all the best for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you, and festive season's greetings to you as well. Thank you. Lovely to see you on Boxing Day. Lovely to see you.
Same here. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Honestly, it is always so lovely speaking with Sharon. She's doing such fantastic work, as you can see, and there's no resting for her, even though there is the festive season. She's back to work again tomorrow. Speaking of back to work, let's get back to work here as well. Next up, I have a very beautiful rendition of Tu Mera Main Teri, and it's a very beautiful love song. But I will be playing the 2.0 version of this by H. Dami, Rishi Rich, and the beautiful Kirani. Tu Mera Main Teri, the 2.0 version. So let's have a listen to that.
तू पत जियां कन्ने वालियां चुमदियां रहन गल्लां गोरियां
कृष्णा कोई जानती है शैतान वालियां इंडिया में गुस्से विच तोड़ियां तेरे ते मरा
ले जागरा तेनू तेरा मेरा होवे सनमा
तू मेरा मेरा मैं तेरी तेरी मैनू गल्ला ना ले
मैं तेरा मेरा तू मेरी मेरी गल बाहां पा ले
तू मेरा मेरा मैं तेरी तेरी मैनू गल्ला ना ले
मैं तेरा मेरा तू मेरी मेरी गल बाहां पा ले
मुंडे आग तेरे उत्ते तो बरुश की मेरे वालियां
बल्लिए तो बण मेरी जिंद जान प्यार दिया बोनी रे कहानियां प्यार करा
तेरे ते मरा मैं ते तो कुर्बान मेरी जान तू मेरा मेरा मैं तेरी तेरी मैनू गल्ला ना ले तू मेरा मेरा मैं तेरी तेरी मैनू गल्ला ना ले
So that was, I don't know, I just love it. I don't know what it is about this kind of song, but I could play, this lovely song in like a wedding photo shoot or a video shoot, and it explains feelings so well. I think we should play this track more on SG1 Radio, and that was Tu Mera Main Teri, the 2.0 version. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a double song next, actually, because after my next song, we have a lovely guest joining us. So make sure you are stay tuned for that. So the next song I have got for you is a very beautiful cover on Aaj Jaane Ki Zid Na Karo by the ever so magical Magan. Enjoy this one. And after that, we have a lovely guest joining us, Kuljit Bhamra. So stay tuned, guys, on SG1 Radio.
हाय मर जाएंगे हम तो लुट जाएंगे हाय मर जाएंगे हम तो लुट जाएंगे ऐसी बातें किया ना करो आज जाने की जिद ना करो आज जाने की जिद ना करो यूं ही पहलों में बैठे रहो यूं ही पहलों में बैठे रहो हाय मर जाएंगे हम तो लुट जाएंगे ऐसी बातें किया ना करो आज जाने की जिद ना करो आज जाने की जिद ना करो निधा निरे गा गरे गरे सा पा मा गरे गा गा मा दा नि सा सा नि दा मा गा मा गरे नि सा
really love the touch Magan adds to their music, and that was Aaj Jaane Ki Zid Na Karo by Magan, of course. So, guys, I'll play this first.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Today's best music.
SG1 Radio, right here, right now.
Yes, right here, right now with me, Naz, on SG1 Radio. So my next guest is someone who is a renowned composer and Bhangra producer who has created over 2,000 Bhangra songs. He is a hugely respected British musician and a holder of the prestigious MBE. So can we please welcome Kuljit Bhamra on SG1 Radio. Hello there, how are you doing?
Hello. Nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you too. Honestly, I'm really excited about today's interview because
So
you've
am I.
created some fantastic music on some amazing projects as well, such as Benjamin Beckham, Indiana Jones, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So how do you feel your musical journey has been for you so far?
Well, I love my journey and I love life. And well, those of you that know me would know that I was brought up in a very strict Indian family where my mother and father said, music is just a hobby. And after a while, it took me, the time came when I could actually hand in my daytime job and go into music full time. And ever since I did that, everything just flows like a river.
Would you
Right,
say you faced ups and downs to get where you are now?
Well, the only ups and downs are really, as I mentioned, the whole idea of, do you have a dream or are you following someone else's dream? So I was following my father's dream for me, and I didn't really think that I could fulfill my own dream. But when that time came when I could be lucky enough to realize, oh no, I'm doing this to make my family happy, and there are cultural pressures about being successful. You have to be a doctor or an engineer.
Yeah.
So when I realized those things, then I was able to take my own journey. And as I mentioned, ever since then, it's been absolutely amazing. I love every moment of my life, and I love being alive. And I also try and help other people as well find their own dreams and pursue them.
Yeah, and am I also correct to think that you used to work as a civil engineer before?
Exactly, yeah. So I was a civil engineer, and I was a good Indian boy, as I mentioned. And and I had actually, while I was a civil engineer, I made quite a few hit records. I mean, if you're Punjabi, you will know Real Goody, where they make a train. So that was 1986. So I was
So how did that transition come from, civil engineering to
I went through a bit of a low point in my life where I began to question everything. And I suppose it happens for many people. You've got this thing in your mind, and then when you do it, you think, is this it? So I was a civil engineer. I was a good civil engineer, I think. And but it wasn't fulfilling for me. And also I used to think, life is very short. I don't want to get morbid about it, but eventually at some point we're not going to be here. And I used to think, on my tombstone, will they write he was a civil engineer? Because, and I knew I had a talent for other things.
Yeah.
But like with many people, some societal pressures, they hold your talent down. But I was lucky enough to be able to find that gateway or that journey, into it.
Yeah, and are there any instruments you feel particularly passionate about? My guess is the tabla, but I'd want to hear from you first.
Yeah, I live in a recording studio, as you can tell.
Yeah,
so
it's such a beautiful.
Sorry? Yeah, I'm surrounded by equipment. I live, this is my house upstairs. So I love. To answer your question, I love tabla, and I've been playing tabla since I was 6 years old. My mother's a well-known singer, and so I was. I was forced to play tabla when I was 6 years old. I had a knack of being able to see something and then grab hold of it. So I'm very curious. I want to know everything. You know what I mean? It's like, how does that work? How does that work? Why did the bird fly? Why did the leaf fall down? I'm something like that. So I can drive people mad with my curiosity. But once I find out how something works, I can normally do it. Actually, I have a knack of being able to do it. So I play tabla. I'm self-taught. I also play harmonium. I play lots of instruments.
Yeah.
But I also realised that, my mum, when she used to eat food, she could tell what went into it. She could say, "Oh, it's this much salt, this much chili, this much masala, this much whatever." And when I heard music, I could see how it was put together, just like that. I could see all the different components. Some people, when they watch a film, they enjoy the film, which is what you're supposed to do. If you're a filmmaker, you know how it's all put together, where the camera is, how the lighting is done and all that sort of stuff. So I had that knack of being able to listen to music and dissect it in my mind. And then that meant that I could then also make music as well, So if you have an idea for a song, I can make a record. I have that knowledge and that talent, whatever you call it, or those skills to take an idea, la 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 la, and then turn it into it. Suddenly it's on a CD. Or
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And, you've also created the world's first electronic tabla. So can you tell us how that came about?
Yeah, well, I've got it lying here, actually. I thought
Have you? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is...
amazing.
This came about... I was in a show in the West End called Bombay Dreams. It was a Andrew Lloyd Webber show. And when I was playing, many of your viewers I know are musically minded, and when you play tabla, you tune it with a hammer. I haven't got a hammer here, but you ding 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 ding, and you tune it with a hammer. And then after about 2 minutes, it goes out of tune again because the lights have come on or the humidity's changed. That's one problem I had with the tabla, because I never wanted to tune on stage. I just hated doing that. So that's one of the things. The other thing also was, the tabla's got these black spots in the middle, the real tabla, the acoustic tabla, that comes off after a while, and if you give it to the young children, they pick it off because they just want to pick it off. It's like a scab, pick it off. But the main problem came when I was playing tabla with Western musicians, like I was playing with jazz musicians and orchestras. And if you play in a Western band, one song might be in C sharp, one song might be in D, the next song will be in F, one song will be in B. You can't keep tuning your tabla like, hold on guys, I need 10 minutes to tune my tabla. You can't do that. Nor can you carry like 12 tablas with you everywhere you go, one for each tune, because even then they go out of tune. So at that time, I had an idea in my mind that we should have a tabla where you can turn the button and it just tunes by itself. Yeah. And so that was the beginning of the idea. And then about 7 years ago, I applied for a funding to start a company up to actually produce it and try to explore how to do it. And yeah, in fact, just yesterday or the day before, we launched it publicly, and it's getting a lot of really exciting response from people, and also because of electronics, you can also do other things, like I can have a dholak in here, or I can have a bakal with a gungam. I can tune each drum, not only just one, I can tune them both. I can also connect it to a computer and trigger other sounds. So the possibilities are endless.
Are you able to give us a little play?
You know what? It's not plugged. I was going to do that, but I didn't get a chance to plug it in. But there are.
Okay.
I can send you a video link. There's lots of videos.
That's really fine. Yeah. It's such a ground-breaking idea that you've come up with, though. It's fantastic, and I can actually see another award coming your way for it as well. Because even in the past, you've been awarded an MBE in the Queen's Birthday Honours List in 2009 for your contribution to Bhangra and British Asian music. So how did you feel when you first heard that you'd be getting that award? Like, what was your first reaction like?
I mean, it was a total shock, because I'm not someone, I love making music, and I love the art of it. It's not like I'm not interested in awards, but I don't do this so I can get an award. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's nice to be recognised for your hard work.
It's really nice to be recognised. And so I had, what happened was I had a letter come through the post, and there was lots of junk mail that came through at the same time, and this letter had all these
you didn't chuck that one away, I'd hope.
I was on the verge of chucking it away, so it was lying on my desk for 3 days, and I was about to chuck it away, and when I picked up the envelope, I realised, you know, those seals on it.
Yeah.
Usually
It
they're
looks
like
nice and posh.
exactly, but usually they're printed on. If you've got junk mail,
Yeah.
they're like printed on. You know, you've won a £10 million or whatever. But when I picked up this envelope, it had a real seal on it, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I opened the envelope, and then it said, you know, you've been awarded an MBE, and I just closed the envelope and I just sat for like half an hour in total shock. So it was the most amazing thing. It was. I think the best way of describing it is I don't feel any more big-headed or proud in that way. But what I am proud about is, you know, when I went to receive it, they announced in the palace, you know, for services to Bhangra and British Asian music, and it was just nice to hear those words. Like those are the things got the award, you know, and I got a validation to say, keep doing what you're doing because you're on the right path. So that was all really good, and my mum and dad were very happy, you know. So
it made it look worthwhile, at least. That if you
it made it worthwhile. And about a month later, I got an honorary doctorate degree from
oh, wow.
Exeter University. So my dad now can say, "My son's a doctor." At last. So that was quite funny. So yeah, it was.
Brilliant.
It's a lovely thing to have, and yeah, for me, it was more like a validation of my journey rather than yeah, I'm really great sort of thing, you know. But
it's a proud moment for the entire South Asian community, to be honest. That's in Britain, like to get that, you know, genre of music getting the recognition which rightfully is deserved. So you've been in the music industry for quite some time now. Would you say there's anything in particular that perhaps you would like to see more changes in going forward?
Well, I think there are two things that irritate me, to be honest. The first thing is we haven't had an Indian song in the charts. And we've had Mundiya to Bach Ke Rahe. I realized that was like
a bit universal Asian music, isn't it? If there's an ad, if they have to show Indians or Bollywood, it's this music that they just play automatically. Like as if no other music has come about. I mean, exactly. But there is more music that came out after.
There is more music than that. And also, it was great, but it didn't. Where was the number two and the second one? You know, we're talking 15, 20 years ago. And I hate to think this, that maybe people might think, oh, it's done. We've done it now. We've had a song in the charts. It was like a novelty song. So that's the first thing that irritates me. And then I think the second thing, which now this has become one of my answers to, is the fact that Indian music isn't, you know, Indian instruments aren't still fully integrated into orchestras and ensembles. So, you know, I mean, everyone sees a guitar, and you don't have to be Spanish to play a guitar. You know what I mean? And if you play, you know, marimba is like a huge xylophone. They play. You don't have to be living in the jungle to play a marimba. You know what I mean? All these instruments have become accepted in Western culture, but for some reason our Indian instruments haven't become fully accepted. They're still looked upon as like mystical or spiritual,
too exotic maybe for them. But I think it needed to be more widely accepted. I think India does have perhaps one of the best instruments.
And that, you know, this is not designed to replace the tabla. Of course, you can have a guitar and you can have an electric guitar. You can have a piano and electric piano. So why not have an electric tabla so that some people who maybe they can't get into the real tabla, at least they can get into this. You know, and nowadays we're all on our phones. Everybody's really good with their fingers and thumbs. You know, if you're typing a text and you move 1 millimeter the wrong way, you're going to type the wrong word, right? So we're all good with tablets and our fingers. And I just think that now is the right time to introduce something like this, because it's about fingers, you know, and we're all dexterous and we all have that skill. So, you know, why not?
No, absolutely. And what do you think about the music industry, as in, is it accessible to everyone, or does it need diversifying to become more representative of all types of people in music? Like, what do you think can be done? Because I know you briefly touched upon it in your previous answer, but do you think what could be done more so that it is, you know, more diverse?
I mean, it's a really good question, and I'm sure there are many answers to it. I think there's something that Sometimes someone said something really amazing to me. They said, when you love something so much, you can like squeeze it so tight that you can strangle it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we're doing that with our culture, and it's interesting to talk about culture because, I don't know, maybe I can ask you a question. Where are you born in England?
Yes, I was born in England.
So if someone says what your cultural heritage is, what do you say?
Bangladesh. I know that's a bit weird, doesn't it? Like, yeah, so when people do ask, because obviously appearance-wise, I do look a bit different. But people do generally ask, so where is your cultural heritage? I think it's more just out of curiosity a lot of the times. And so I just say, my roots are in Bangladesh. But then because of my accent, people do maybe assume that I was born and raised in England. But it's a bit of a weird one. I know what you mean, because I feel like being a British Asian, you get that you live two different lives, I sometimes feel,
which is really a wonderful thing. Like you have that skill. You can skip from Bangladeshi to English, in a second, right? I can switch to Punjabi or whatever. But we have that skill. But it's really funny, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it's funny. I call myself British Indian, right? Now, to all intents and purposes, what does that mean? Because does it mean that I should be like, where's my home? Is my home in India and then I'm just living here because I'm British Indian? Or is my home is here, actually.
Yeah, that's what I think too, because I've been living here for the our past 3 generations have been living here. So
yeah, exactly.
It makes me feel like, this is home.
So it's really strange that you say I'm Bangladeshi. But there's nothing wrong with that because you're proud of that heritage. That's your heritage. So I think what we can do to answer your question is to, we're not separate from everybody else. We're all British. This instrument, for example, could not have been. No one's invented this in India so far. Tabla's been around for 400 years. We had to be in England to invent this because we needed the problem of tuning with like a saxophone or with a violin. You know what I mean? So that problem wouldn't have happened maybe in India. Your show, your radio show, might not have happened the way it is happening now if you were back in Bangladesh, so that's a real blessing as well. So I think we have to embrace everything, rather than try to, why aren't there songs in the charts? Why aren't there Bangladeshi songs or Punjabi songs or Gujarati songs in the charts? Why aren't there? We're a valid portion of the British culture. So why isn't it there? We've had our record sales. When I did Bhangra songs, we sold more than you needed to sell to get into the charts, but it never got into the charts. So there's something sort of weird going on. But anyway, that's the sort of social political answer. I think the other answer is I also think that music is made by playing an instrument. And it's really nice to see people playing dhol, more people are playing sitar, but mostly, us British Asians are playing it. What we need to do is open the door so that everybody can understand it. And it's okay to say, say somebody asked you, how do you do an amazing radio show? It's okay to say, you're so amazing. How do you do it? How do you present? It's okay to say I don't know. If someone plays a guitar and someone says, "How did you do that?" It's okay to say, I don't actually know how I did that.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes we're scared of saying I don't know. We make up stories. Like I remember, for example, with tabla. I spoke to many people, a lot of my friends are tabla players as well. And there's this rules that we have. You have to sit on the floor and play cross-legged. Now, I ask many people, why do you have to sit on the floor cross-legged and play? They say, it sounds better. Now, I know they just made that up, right? Because I've been recording tabla for over 40 years. And I've recorded it on a table, on a dining table, in a car park, on the floor. It all sounds the same. So it's okay, to say, yeah, why not? Play it standing up if you want. You don't have to sit cross-legged. The moment you sit cross-legged on the floor, people start thinking about yoga and meditation, it gets really complicated. Let people let people enjoy curry and also let them mix it with chips, if they want to. It's nothing
I
wrong.
once had chips dipped in dal when I had wisdom toothpaste, and they actually tasted quite nice, actually. And I'm someone who has dal with like everything, because my mom was like, "How could you have dal? Like, I'll have it as a soup. I'll have it as a dip." Yeah, but yeah, there's no harm. Like people just let live. People doing what they think. There's no rational explanation for everything.
No, they didn't explain. I don't know. If you said to me, "Can you lift your hand up?" and I say yes, and then you say, "How did you do that?" and I say,
This happened.
It happened. I could say my brain sent a message to my muscle, and it did. I haven't got a clue how I did that, but something happened. It's okay. We're all living in the same pot.
Absolutely. No, honestly, I could just see we're running short on time, and I could speak to you for so much longer. But honestly, Kuljit, it was like such a fantastic time having you on SG1 Radio. Your story itself is so inspirational, and I really do hope our listeners do take note of it. And the work that you've done for the British Asian community as a whole is so prideful moment for everyone. For myself and everyone at SG1 Radio, we wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care and enjoy the rest of your
have a very good festive holiday in spirit.
Yes, you too, and best wishes to you for the new year. Take care.
Definitely.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Honestly, it was so lovely speaking with Kuljit. And you know what? We are in the last 10 minutes now of the show. Oh my gosh, it's going by so quick. How can it go so quick? So, okay, we're going to whiz through the last two songs. So let's move into our next song. The next song is produced by Infinity Music Works, and they have developed a trend in quality music within the local and international markets. And they have offices in Dubai, Houston, and Pakistan. So for those talented artists who are amongst our listeners right now, if you are looking to get some quality work or your foot in the door of the music industry, then please do reach out to Infinity Music Works via their socials. And on that note, we have something that will touch our rule, and that's Rule by Mohsin Abbas Haider and Faraz Khosa. So yeah, let's get it up for that.
कोई उड़दा का जांदा सजन मुका दे ते लग मौत दा ना जांदा दूर चली रू दूर चली रू दूर चली रू दूर चली रू बुए यार दे चलिए चलिया जा थक हार गई कलम कलिया जा बुए यार दे चलिए चलिया जा थक हार गई कलम कलिया जा दूर चली रू दूर चली रू तक तक संग देने संग तेरा मंग देने दिन तेरी यादा वाले डंग डंग लंग देने ओ तक तक संग देने संग तेरा मंग देने दिन तेरी यादा वाले डंग डंग लंग देने चांदी वाक यार दिस आरा कर मिन्नता प्यार दिस चली रू दूर चली रू हंझू मेरे सुक गए ने अख विच कख भी नहीं संग तेरे निभदे ने रहना तेथों वख भी नहीं हंझू मेरे सुक गए ने अख विच कख भी नहीं संग तेरे निभदे ने रहना तेथों वख भी नहीं भावे जित्या हार लिख आजा हथी लेख यार लिख आजा दूर चली रू उड़ी जा दूर चली रू दूर चली रू बेपरवाह डोला हो कच्चे दूध च उबाल आया जिद कोलो रूह पुछया नी माही किथे तक नाल आया
Honestly, I really like this song. That's so much. So that was Raw by Mohsin Abbas Haider. Music most definitely keeps you and everyone connected, no matter where you are from around the world. And I know that Nicole and Zobia really enjoyed this song, and I hope you guys did too. Honestly, last 2 minutes left, so I just want to quickly say best wishes to everyone from myself and everyone at SG1 Radio for the new year. Take care, stay safe. So what I will be doing is I'll be finishing up the hour with a very fabulous song by our own Leslie Lewis, who no doubt is a great musician, singer, songwriter, and above all, a very lovely person who I had the honor of interviewing too right here on SG1 Radio. And you can catch that interview on our Facebook page if you missed it. So yes, Naz signing off, but I'll be back again next week. Same time, same place, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock every Saturday. So I want to see as many of you there as possible next week and dropping in your messages. So finishing up with Betabia by Leslie Lewis.
मेरे आंखों में खो जाना मेरे दिल को यूं भड़काना तेरी मीठी बातों की सजा दिल टूटा तो मैं सहारा दिन हो या रात के 12 तेरी मुश्किलों में मैं यहाँ बेवफा चाहे तू बहकाए पास तो रहे पर पास नहीं आए दोस्त मैं रहूं पर तू चाहे क्या जब तेरे दिल में कोई न आए मुझको तो हर वक्त क्यों भूल जाए कैसे सरूं